Holy crap, people. So much stuff happened last night. Last night was so crazy. I had to write all the highlights just to make sure I didn't miss anything big, which I don't normally do for these. But, anyways, uh, I saw that Generation X was going to be in town like 10 days before the show. I'd never heard of them before. And I'm not really fans of any of these people. So it's basically like the G3 tour, but instead of three people organized by Joe Satriani, it's five people organized by Steve Vai. Um, so it was Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen, Tosin Abasi, Nuno Bettencort, and Zack Wylde. So, uh, considering that I'm not fans of any of these people, I have to say I was pleasantly surprised by this show. This is uh, one of the best shows I've ever seen where I'm not a fan of the artists playing. Like, since there's so many crazy things that happen, I'm just gonna jump right in. So, first of all five of them came out on uh, a cover of Boston's Foreplay. And before I go any further, I want to give the bassist, drummer, and keyboardist a bunch of credit because they played the full 3.5 hour set, no breaks. Like, there was no intermission in this show. It was just 8 to 11 non-stop rocking, and it was awesome. Um, so, one thing I do want to comment on that I noticed even during the first song is Yngwie, like, can only play like Yngwie. Like, he does all the crazy neoclassical stuff very well, but, like, all the other four guitarists kind of play off each other, but, like, Yngwie is just like, screw that, um, but to his credit, he can play that stuff extremely well. He makes it look so easy, and I actually want to try his signature guitar if I ever get the opportunity because, like, supposedly a scalloped fretboard makes playing a lot easier. I played one a long time ago, and I remember it just felt different, but it's been a while. But anyways, one thing I want to give Yngwie credit for is he and John Petrucci are the only two guitarists I've ever seen live that can actually sweep pick. And by that I mean when they sweep, every individual note rings out and it's what a sweep is supposed to sound like. Every other guitarist I've seen live that sweep picks, it's like top three notes, top three notes, like it's a muddled mess in the low end. But JP and Yngwie, when they sweep, it's do 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 do. Like you hear every note, which is how sweeping is supposed to sound. So I give them big points for that because sweep picking, like I don't really sweep pick a lot. I'm not that good at sweep picking. I can do like 3 credible sweeps, like, and I can't really do them that fast either. I can only do them like moderate tempo. Um, like I have respect for anyone who can sweep cleanly live. Um, anyways, going back into the structure of the show. So Tosin was up first. I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong, Tosin, but he was pretty wild and crazy. He was a weird choice to me because like he's not like the typical 80s shredder. So like he's doing all this polyrhythmic tapping stuff. He's slapping, he's utilizing all 8 strings of his 8-string guitar. He's playing in odd time signatures. Like I tried counting along to some and I picked up like 7/4 in some parts, and there were a couple parts that were just kind of crazy, like 17/16 or 11/16. Again, kudos to the drummer, because trying to count along to weird mixed meters like that isn't easy if you're not experienced with it. So he did 3 songs. Nuno Bettencort joined him for 1 song, and at the end of the song, Nuno made a comment, and this, I guess I understand after he said this why they chose Tosin, because Nuno said something like, "Holy shit, that guy is crazy. What was I thinking trying to play along with him? Now I'm gonna play something that hopefully makes a little more sense." No, well, he didn't. He phrased it nicer than that. But at the end of the show, Steve Vai mentioned something like, in the 90s when grunge came along, it was a scary time for shredders because kids didn't want to go nuts on their instrument anymore. They just wanted to, be like, ugh, feelings. But he was hopeful that kids still wanted to go nuts on their instrument. And he said Tosin is a shining example of that, because not only can he shred, he can do all these other techniques too. He can make it sound beautiful and musical and melodic. So I'm guessing that's why they chose him. And he actually fused into the show better than I thought he would. Anyways, let's see. Nuno, the highlight for Nuno's set for me was his acoustic set. So he just sat down on a stool, brought out an acoustic guitar, and he just did his thing on acoustic, just playing fast, playing slow, and there's just something about a solo acoustic or clean musician to me, seeing them live, that's just really special to me. You don't need the whole fancy stage, you don't need a bunch of people backing you up. If you can sound awesome by yourself, it's just a testament to what a good musician you are. But anyways, Zack Wylde came out and he and Nuno did a song. And again, Zack to me was kind of a weird choice for this show, because I associate him more with a classic rock style, but for some reason, but I mean, he fused into the show pretty well too. Most of the songs he played were covers, he did Black Sabbath's N.I.B., he did Jimi Hendrix's Lil Wing. I remember any of the other songs, but when he did Lil Wing, he went up one aisle and then shredded there for 2 minutes, and then went back to the stage, and then went around the stage and went to another aisle and shredded in the aisle. And you should have seen everybody just get up and trying to shoot it on their phones. And because at least in the show, in the venue I went at, there's 3 aisles, and I was next to the middle aisle, so he goes down the right aisle, the aisle to the right of me. And I'm like, oh, he's going to go down my aisle next, and he didn't. He went down the leftmost aisle. I'm like, okay, next he's going to go down the middle aisle. But no, he didn't. He never went down my aisle, and I was 3 seats away from the aisle itself, so I could have gotten a good shot of him. But, and by the way, I got a really nice seat. I was 8 rows from the stage. So, and it only cost $55. Front row seats are a few hundred. So, considering that I'm only 8 rows behind them, $55 was a good deal for this show. Anyways, moving on to Yngwie's set. Like I said, Yngwie only Yngwie can play like Yngwie. And he was so much fun to see live. Yngwie's such a character. I mean that in a good way. He swings his Strat around his shoulder. He tosses it in the air and catches it. he like takes the pick off his mic stand and he like kicks it into the crowd. And he didn't do that once. He did it like 20 times. Oh boy, what else did he do? And oh yeah, he would like take his guitar off and he would like wipe his ass with it. And whenever he was done with a song, he wouldn't. Most normal guitarists would just politely hand it to their guitar tech, but no, he just threw it to him. And at one point, like, he just without looking threw it over his head, and his tech caught it. Oh, I forgot to talk about technical difficulties. So Yngwie, during one part of the set, had technical difficulties, and he stopped playing like the other musicians on stage kept playing, and he like pointed, like yelled at his guitar tech, and he like went over to his giant stack of amps. And by the way, I have never seen so many Marshall amplifiers in one place before. I mean, it's just a wall, and I'm like, yep, that's Yngwie. So he goes back, he tries it out, and like, he's like, no, it doesn't sound right. And like, he plays like 30 seconds of a song until he stops, and he's like, go to the pedal board, and he tries fixing the pedal board, and his tech goes to the pedal board, and like, they do this like 6 times. Play for 30 seconds, go to the amps and fiddle with all the amps. Go play for 30 seconds, fiddle with all the pedals. Like, it was actually really funny. Every time it happened, I laughed harder and harder. But eventually he got everything working, and he finished his set. And the last song he played was Black Star, which is the only Yngwie song I'm really familiar with, and it was really cool to see it live. And Steve Vai joined him on stage for that, and like, they both harmonized all the parts that are like double-tracked guitars on the studio album, and then they just like started playing off each other again. And then like, there was a part where it got very quiet and clean and sparse, and like, that's the only time I've ever seen Yngwie like not play like Yngwie. So like, that was a real treat to see live. It really was. And then Steve comes out, and he was honestly like the least exciting part of the show for me, at least. He did 3 songs. He at least looked like he was having a lot of fun. And I noticed there was like a laser pointer on the right wall over here. And I'm like, who has a laser pointer? And then I notice it's on his guitar headstock. He has a laser pointer on the headstock of his guitar, because like I knew it because at one point he like brought it around the audience, and since there's this light mist through the air, you can see just the laser pointer going through the air. So why? But who cares, because it's cool. So he did 3 songs. Then Tosin came back out, and he did a song with Tosin. Then everybody except Malmsteen came out, and they all did a song together. And then finally Malmsteen came out, and then all 5 of them did a song together. Oh, and I forgot to mention the bracelet. So when Steve came out on stage to start his solo set, he found one of Yngwie's bracelets on the stage, and he picked it up, and he's like, ooh, and he like tucked it away in his pocket, and it was funny, because you know how Yngwie likes to bling himself out, and he's wearing all this like crazy bejeweled stuff all over him. So he like made it a point of comedy throughout the show, like, hey, Tosin, if you join me in this next song, you'll get a free bracelet out of it. And then Zack and Nuno come out on stage, and he's like, hey Nuno, if you give me 40,000 notes, I'll get you a free bracelet. And because like they made this joke about how they're paid by the note or something, I don't know. Um, like it's probably an inside joke that they developed like as they were touring. Um, so finally, after when Yngwie comes out on stage, he's like, "You did a great job tonight, Yngwie. As a reward, here's a bracelet." Like, I don't know if that was planned, but however it worked out, it was funny and it worked. Um, let's see. Okay, I think I covered all the big points. Um, so yeah, overall, I was pleasantly surprised. This was a really fun show, considering I was by myself and I had no one else to go with me, and I wasn't familiar with any of the artists there. I actually had a really great time. So they only have like 3 or 4 more shows left on this tour as of the time of me recording this video. So you probably won't be able to get a chance to see them by the time I upload this. But maybe in a couple years, Vi will start another Generation X tour, sorry, and he'll have more like a new lineup of guitarists, and I'm really beyond curious now to see what comes of it. So, yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun, pleasantly surprised, and if they ever tour again, definitely check them out.